You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast in partnership with Last Word on Sports. This is July the 4th, 2017, and with you today is myself, Carl, and the always wonderful Joel. Happy Independence Day.
Hello. I would like to talk about hockey. This is our third start.
This has been, are we just going to get right into it?
Well, considering we had to restart twice because of me, I'm just going to talk. I'm here to talk about the future. I'm not here to talk about the past.
So we're not going to recap any of the signings over the weekend?
I'm not here to talk about the past.
Who was that? Who's that quote from again?
Mark McGuire.
Right. What a guy. I actually, thanks to you, shout out to Joel for giving me the tips that today, July the 4th, MLB TV, $20 for the rest of the season.
That's a deal.
It is a deal.
That's a great deal. So, and I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, that's true.
That's another one just repeated. Can you think of any other things? It's like practice. I'm not here to talk about the past, and I'm here just so I don't get fined or whatever. Those are the only three where it's just like, right? I can't think of another interview where the guys just said the same thing over and over again.
Does the playoffs one count?
I don't know. Probably not, because the only reason why we hear him say it over and over again is because it's like dubstep looped on YouTube.
Very true.
So I don't think that counts, because you could also say, I'm a man. I'm 40.
Yeah, he only says that one once.
Yeah, but looped on YouTube.
Yeah, fantastic, those montages. Well, let's get to what's been happening in hockey. Lots has happened. It seems like July 1st and the start of Canada Day. Not the start of Canada Day. Well, I guess the start and end of Canada Day was forever ago.
A lot has happened.
Yeah, I was scrolling through the signings to get to the start of it, and obviously there's been a lot of minor signings that we won't be talking about today. But just a lot of people signed. There have been some trades happening. So let's start on Canada Day. I'm still scrolling to get to the very beginning. All right, there we go. The first
There are some guys that signed before Canada Day.
Tell me, Joel.
Dmitry Orlov signed a mammoth of a deal.
6 years, $5.1 million per.
Curtis McElhinney.
Are we going to talk about every backup goaltender who signed? Because this could get lengthy.
I don't know. That's all I got.
Okay.
The Orlov one is notable.
Yeah, the Orlov one's notable. We can wrap that in with the Kuznetsov one as well. Kuznetsov got much more money. However, both of them, guys rumored to be off to the KHL.
But they were like, you know what? We want to get money. We want to get paid. So they signed in the NHL.
Yeah, Kuznetsov, 8 years, $7.8 million. Big money going to him.
They're not going to like that in 4 years' time.
Yeah, they need some serious cap bumps for that to go up. But the Capitals are going to be in a much different situation 8 years from now.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because we talked about this, the Oshie signing happened before last week, right? We talked about that on the show?
I don't know. They signed a lot of guys to big contracts.
And nobody knew. They were just like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to keep this exact same core that we have and change nothing.
I can't win a playoff round.
It's just a terrible, terrible plan.
I'm so happy as an Eastern Conference team fan that they were like, you know what we should do? Double down on everybody.
Yeah, we want more of exactly what we have right now.
How quick did you vacate the bandwagon after you saw all of these deals?
There has been certainly some questioning of the bandwagon. It's both of these teams, my actual team and my bandwagon team, are incredibly frustrating in the exact same way. They do essentially nothing and hope for a different result.
That usually doesn't work.
That's not usually how you win things or succeed. Like you have to change something. If you bring back the exact same core minus so on the back end, as much as, and we'll get to those, but the fact is that Karl Alzner and Kevin Shattenkirk were the two best free agent defensemen. They were on this roster in the playoffs, and they still lost out. Now, granted, they lost to the champs, but they still lost out. The Leafs took them to 7 games. It's not like they were barn burners against the Leafs. They weren't President's Trophy quality against them. And so you look at this, and what do they think is going to happen differently? You have Barry Trotz in the last year of his deal. So potentially you say, okay, well, if you're a believer in the the salary cap performance, if you're one of those, but I don't think that's much of a thing for a coach of like a free agent last year of a deal performance. The only thing that could happen is, and it's not like the Caps have much of this, is he'll just say, screw prospects, I'm coaching to win now. That's what this team's doing. If he's already not doing that, he's terrible at his job. So, yeah, as a Washington Capitals fan, I would not be excited about this offseason in the slightest.
I do have one thing to say. I'm not sure Karl Alzner is one of the best defensemen available.
Okay, well, that's not to say that Karl Alzner is a great defenseman. It's to say of the quality of free agent defensemen available on July 1st. Because
my favorite signing so far has been the Karl Alzner signing. I could not be more excited about that.
As a fan of not the Canadiens, like a fan against them.
Yeah, because that's not... So they just gave a guy who... I don't know if you noticed this. I watched the first round of the playoffs fairly closely when the Capitals were playing. Alzner did not play in some of those games. And then the Canadiens were like, you know what we should do? We should give that guy a 5-year deal. So I'm very happy about that. And that's the only thing going for the Capitals is that they somehow, they didn't somehow figure out how to squeak that guy into their plans, because that would have been the icing on the cake, right? If they had somehow, what if they had signed Alzner instead of Oshie? Oh, could you imagine?
Yeah, for the Canadiens, I definitely feel much better about Karl Alzner than you do. But if you look at it from the Canadiens' perspective, for what it costs for a free agent defenseman, $4.625 on a 5-year deal, the term on that, I can 100% get behind. There is nothing, or not the term, the dollars, right? $4.625 million is a fantastic price for a free agent to bring someone in. They had apparently offered Andre, and it might still be, rumor has it, still a standing offer to Andrei Markov to pay him $6 million.
For 2 years. Or is it just 1 year?
It's either 1 or 2. But either way, you're getting someone who I would much rather Karl Alzner than him for about $1.5 million less.
I don't know. I just think, in 3 and 4 years' time, you're going to have Karl Alzner and Shea Weber to just boat anchor contracts on that defensive corpse. This is not going to be good.
Well,
Like,
on the plus, here's the thing though. They're also getting rid of the boat anchor contract of Thomas Plekanec.
yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, I just don't get how a guy can go from I'll use the term lightly because no one's fully healthy in the playoffs, but like healthy scratch in the playoffs to a 5-year deal. How do you go to that? How does that happen?
Maybe the Caps are the Edmonton curse that you were talking about before. Maybe that's the Caps now.
I don't know, but you think, yeah, I don't know. Well, let's get into some of these other deals. I don't want to talk about the Capitals anymore.
All right, let's stay with the Canadiens for a second here. Since you're so against the Carl Alzner signing, let's talk about Carey Price. Mr. Carey Price got an 8-year, $10.5 million contract in the world where Connor McDavid is apparently tomorrow going to officially sign a $13.5 million a year contract. Carey Price gets 10.5. It's a raise for him.
Oh man, this is hilarious. Okay, here's what's going to be in 2019.
Yeah,
Carey Price 10.5. Carl Alzner, 4.6. Jeff Petrie, 5.5. Shea Weber, 7.8. Andrew Shaw, 3.9. This team is going to be terrible.
No, so the first 4 players you mentioned, Price, Alzner, Petrie, and Shea Weber, those 4 players, with the salary cap staying the exact same it is right now, those 4 will account for 38% of the Canadian salary cap.
That's not good.
That is not good at all.
That's not good. Like, I get it. And the only one
they have to sign him. There's no way.
They have to. Yeah. Like, you can't not sign him, but you also don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same thing. And like, I'll make the same argument for McDavid. You can't not sign him to that huge deal. You don't love it.
You sign him essentially a blank check. You say, "Hey, what's it going to take for you to stay?" If it's $13.5 million, you pay that. Especially like if you go from Carey Price to Al Montoya,
yeah,
is not possible. So yeah, you have to sign him. It has to happen. It's the only way they can stay relevant. But I think, and we're going to see this with Edmonton too, I think that's going to be the difference between them staying relevant and them being cup winners.
So you don't think they'll be a cup winner?
I do not think that the Montreal Canadiens, with the list of players that you listed off at that dollar number, are cup contenders. They will be playoff regulars, 100%.
Yeah. What about Edmonton? Can they win a cup with that kind of cap hit?
If they also hand out the rumored $9 million to Draisaitl, I don't think it's
going to get $9 million. I think it's going to be. The interesting thing is, so you remember when Crosby signed the 8.7 Mammoth deal?
Yeah,
that's the same. The cap was at the same percentage that McDavid is about the same percentage as what David is signing.
Crosby's was about 15%. McDavid's is 17%. So McDavid's is a bit higher of a hit,
but not like crazy higher. So here's the thing that, like, think about this. So you have Carey Price. He's 29 years old, 10.5 mil now. Would you rather him at 10.5 mil or Ben Bishop?
And he's at what?
5.9.
So here's how I would look at that scenario. Let's say you take the Dallas Stars roster.
Mm-hmm.
And you take the Montreal Canadiens roster. So you take the Canadiens with 10.5 and you say, oh, who do I want to play this game with here? Let's play it with Andrew Shaw, 3.9. So combined, that's $14.4 million. Then you go to the Dallas Stars roster. And you say, all right, we have Ben Bishop at 5.5. So that gives us another, what?
$9
million. Yeah, $9 million to spend. So if you were to take one of these guys, let's say you take Martin Hanzal, guy they just signed, 3 years, $4.75 million.
Let's not take Martin Hanzal, but okay.
But no, here's the thing. So you take Martin Hanzal and you add $9 million to that, right?
Yeah.
So that you're putting that extra $9 million somewhere. That replacement, you take Martin Hanzal off, you spend $9 million. Guess what that is? Now, certainly, to get him to go to free agency is hard, but that's the price tag of Connor McDavid right there. So would you rather have Andrew Shaw and Carey Price or Connor McDavid and Ben Bishop?
Yeah, well, that's not even a question. But that's the thing. Like, you would okay, let's not use McDavid, but let's just use
John Tavares, a guy who arguably is going to be available in free agency.
Right. So you could sign him and Bishop for the same as Shaw and Carey Price. But let's use two guys that actually went to free agency. So you could sign Ben Bishop, Alexander Radulov, and Karl Alzner for the same as Andrew Shaw and Carey Price.
I take the Bishop, Radulov, Alzner side any day.
Yeah. So it's just, we've probably talked more than we need to on this, but basically it comes down to, obviously the Canadiens are going to do that, and obviously it's going to be not good for them.
Absolutely. Let's get to some more of the signings. As you mentioned, lots of guys signed contracts on July 1st. Let us touch on Mr. Cam Fowler. A lot of defensemen signed some big money that day. Cam Fowler, 8 years, $6.5 million. Obviously, Anaheim did a lot to keep that D core that they have right now in the NHL intact, right? Moving out Shea Theodore so that they could keep all of their top defensemen there. Are you okay with that money and term for a 25-year-old defenseman in Cam Fowler?
For a guy that there was so much talk about him being traded last year, this time last year we were talking about Fowler being moved because he was not playing to what they wanted him. And one season to change and just be like, bam, 8 years. Let's do it. 6.5. It's that's a lot of term and money. It's a lot of term and money.
It's a ton. And I agree 100%. I get the money. 6.5, sure, that's fine. But 8 years? This is Anaheim saying, you know what, we're putting all of our duck eggs are going in this basket right now.
Yeah.
These players we have, this is the best we're going to get, and we're going to pay to keep them around.
You know what's... Although Vlasic got more money in just as many years.
Yeah, I'd rather Vlasic, hands down.
Really?
Yes, not even close.
So Vlasic was going to be 38.
That's the
Fowler's
problem.
going to be 33.
That is the problem.
That's a huge difference.
38-year-old Marc-Edouard Vlasic is not going to be good. 33-year-old Cam Fowler could still be good.
Fowler's more likely to be still pretty good at the end of his deal than Vlasic is.
Yes, but right now, I would pick Vlasic hands down.
See, the thing, Vlasic has been around for so long. When he signed an 8-year deal, I was like, what are they doing? I was like, this guy's got to be 35. He's not, but it feels like he's been around that long. I didn't realize he was still good.
Yeah, he is.
I was surprised at how much they gave him. That just, to me, that felt just so much worse than the Fowler deal.
No, I think because of the fact that Vlasic is better now, I'm okay with it. But neither of those really excite me. And that was kind of the theme of this whole week. Nothing that any team did, I was like, man, that's a steal of a deal. Like, there wasn't that many steals out there.
But is there ever steals in free agency?
I think you wait. Like, if you wait a couple of days, you start to see some of those sneak out.
Yeah, I think, and this will tell you exactly how I feel. Like, the deal that I like the most, and I don't even really like it that much, but I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Niemi to the Penguins for $700,000. I'm like, yeah, I like that.
That is absolutely. That's
not a
one
great goalie anymore, but you're just like, oh, he's a competent backup at this point.
Yeah, that's one of those NBA style deals now where everyone's just like, yeah, 100%. I want to go win a cup. I'm going to take a discount to go play there. Same thing. In the exact same way, the Patrick Sharp to Chicago, $1 million.
Yeah, Sharp's not very good anymore.
I know, but neither is Niemi. These are, and we'll talk about another not very good player who signed for under $1 million. But those are good deals because the risk is incredibly low, and the upside is there. There's the upside outdoes it. Most of these deals, they need to play at their peak performance or then some to get the most out of these contracts.
Yeah, that's fine. The thing I don't get is how, and there must be something wrong here. So, like, on Cap Friendly, Patrick Sharp has a $1 million deal, but his cap is $800,000. I don't get how that works.
I think it's because of the incentives that he has. So they would come in as overages because he has a bonus for if he plays a certain amount of games and all that kind of stuff. So
okay, but I think Niemi's more likely. I think the Penguins will be happier with Niemi than the Blackhawks will be with Sharp. But you're right; they're both so like just zero risk.
Yeah.
Because both of them could find themselves not on either of those teams, and no one would care.
Not in the slightest. So your team made some moves this week.
Yeah, they did.
Picking up Mr. Ronald Hainsey.
Yeah.
Do you care about... Everyone said, you know what, we like the Ron Hainsey signing because he brings veteran presence.
I don't care about that.
Okay, you don't think the fact that Ron Hainsey sidled up to a fantastic Penguins team, granted, played in the top two pairings for most of that playoff run, was playing 22 minutes a night, contributed, but he is not the reason that the Penguins won the Cup.
Oh, no, but I don't care that he's a veteran presence. I like the fact that we signed a guy that can play in our top four. Like, he's going to play in the top four. He'll be good. I'll be okay with it. Like, this is my hope, is that Ron Hainsey, I never notice him. That's my hope. He plays top 4 minutes, and I never notice him.
He's just out there doing his thing.
Yeah. If he does that for 2 years and gets paid $3 million to do that, I think you're very happy about that. I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, that is 100. And looking at the cap hit on that, $3 million. Even if you only get one good year, if Ron Hainsey is a shell of Ron Hainsey, even I don't want to say you want it this year because then you're a team looking to go into the playoffs. You don't want that. But next year, Ron Hainsey, if he's irrelevant, a $3 million cap hit, who really cares?
Yeah, I think that'll be fine. I'm glad. Like, I would rather him than like. There's just some crazy deals, like Justin Schultz at 5.5. Like, these are just crazy deals. Defensemen got paid crazy, except for Shattenkirk. Like, that's probably the best defenseman deal out there.
For sure. Shattenkirk's dropped to, what did he end up getting?
6 years?
6 years, 6.65?
Yeah, like it's so. Oh no, 4 years.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, it is 4.
That's crazy. See, that's like, I love that. That's the best. I think that's the best deal in free agency.
And to go to a team like not a fringe team, the New York Rangers, a team that are competitive.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I like the Hainsey deal.
So then you guys made a significant splash, and we knew that there was rumors of it throughout. Joe Thornton waiting for the ball to drop on Patrick Marleau before officially signing his 1 year, $8 million deal. And I think, in the same way, a 1 year, we always say no bad 1 year contract. Is $8 million to Joe Thornton a bad 1 year contract?
No.
Exactly. If you can fit it into your cap, Joe Thornton certainly can still contribute at that. But he waited to officially sign. Apparently, he was willing to take a little less if Mr. Patrick Marleau had stuck around, but he didn't. He went to your Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, he did.
You happy with that?
Oh, I'm thrilled. It's a terrible contract. Don't get me. He's going to be in Robidas Island in the next year or two. If we get one good year out of him, great. But I love that Austin Matthews has a legitimate left winger now, but the term and the money is crazy. Well, but I'm okay with it.
And that was his deal breaker, was the term. I think whichever team offered him the most money on a 3-year deal, he was taking it, and that happened to be the Leafs. And a lot of people saying, the Babcock factor had to do with it. I'm not sure I buy that. I think he wanted to be able to be guaranteed to play until he is the ripe old age of 41.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to play his 41 year. I don't think he's going to play the last year of this deal. I don't know. I don't see it, but maybe. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's shipped off somewhere. It's a low enough cap hit that he could be shipped off to an Arizona, a Carolina with a draft pick at some point in time.
Your 2021 captain of your Vegas Knights right there.
There you go. I don't know. I'm happy about it. I think he's going to score. He's probably going to score 30 goals. He's got the potential. If he plays with Matthews, he could easily score 30 goals.
Well, and that is the thing. You guys did not need to bring in a center. Your center depth is ridiculous. I know you hate the Dominic Moore signing.
Don't even give me. I hate Dominic Moore.
What is your issue with Dominic Moore?
That guy is so whiny. He whined about whatever when he was here in Toronto before. I forget what it was about.
Just all the time or on the ice?
I don't even remember. I don't even know what it was about.
You just blocked it out.
I just remember him being super whiny for some reason. I think it had to do with a coach, or I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Well, Dominic Moore's your fourth line center, and I'm okay with it. At $1 million, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Is he? I don't even know how good is he.
He's not that good.
He's not that good.
No, he's not. You should probably have just stuck with Ben Smith as your fourth line center.
Oh, no. You just, for goodness sakes. I don't like that.
Fine, so just play three lines. Just play three lines.
How come Brian Boyle didn't come back?
Because you guys decided to pay other people. You didn't want to give him 2 years.
Fine.
You also you could play Eric Fair as your fourth line center. Either way, Patrick Marleau, you didn't need a center. You have ridiculous depth with Matthews, Kadri, and Bozak. As much as I hate to say nice things about the Leafs, that is the depth to third line is one of the best around.
Oh, yeah.
And you needed someone else on the wing to go with the JVR, and you got Nylander and Marner on the other side. So if you were to bunch those up and then just shove whoever you want with Bozak on the third line, love that.
Yeah, it's going to be... I have a feeling that Patrick Marleau might spell the end of JVR.
But don't you need both of them?
No.
Because who's going to score on the other wing? You need
Josh
you need
Leivo
two
and
lines.
Kasperi Kapanen.
So you think that those guys are ready to step up?
Okay, so first off, Bozak and JVR are not our second line.
Okay, who's your second line?
So Connor Brown, Kadri, and Uncle Leo.
That's what you consider a second line?
Dude, Kadri and Connor Brown score some goals, man. How many goals do you think those guys scored? You tell me how many goals those guys scored.
Combined last year?
Sure.
50.
Let's say all three of those guys.
All three of them.
How many goals? Actually, well, Uncle Leo didn't score any goals. But whatever, we'll include him.
Okay, I'm going to go with 63 goals.
For all three of those guys.
For all three of them.
Aren't you... Okay, if that's actually true, aren't you extremely happy about that?
Sure.
As your second line? 63 goals in a second line?
What is the actual number?
We're getting there. We're efforting. So Kadri scored 32.
Okay.
Alone.
Okay.
Connor Brown scored 20, and Komarov scored 14. So
I was under.
60.
I was under. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not happy about that?
Sure. Like, it's fine, but I would hope that you have, like, you kind of want, a couple 20. Sure. Yeah. I'm fine with that.
So, but
I do not think that that's repeatable.
Oh, that's repeatable. Connor Brown, that guy's a hockey player. That guy's gonna score goals. He's a 20 goal scorer. You do that. Josh Levo can score 20. That kid can score some goals. Kadri, he can score 30 again. That's no problem. So that's why I think, like, I could see JVR scored 30, or I think he scored like 28 or something like that. Marleau could easily do that playing. And then you trade JVR in a prospect or JVR in a pick, and you get a top 4 defenseman. I like that.
Okay. Well, here's the things. Connor Brown is not scoring 20 goals again.
Yeah, he is.
No, he's no chance. Here's my reasons. Listen to my reasons, and then tell me which of these I'm wrong about. First off, Connor Brown played all 82 games last year. Great. Good for him. Connor Brown had the highest shooting percentage on your team. 14.4%, beating Austin Matthews. Is Connor Brown the best pure shooter on this Maple Leafs roster?
Well, he just doesn't shoot a lot.
That's not what I asked you. Is Connor Brown the best pure shooter on this Maple Leafs roster?
Of course not. Neither is Austin Matthews, though.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, so unless you somehow think that Connor Brown is getting a bunch more chances, because if he's getting them, then the 236 shots that Nazem Kadri got aren't happening either. So the shots on that line are getting spread out somehow. You're either going to give them to Kadri or Connor Brown, but those two guys are not going to shoot the same way they did last year.
So you don't think those guys... How many goals do you think that line scores?
I think I'd bump them each down 5. I think Connor Brown has 15, Kadri 27.
And then whoever's playing the left wing
gets 10.
Scores what? So gets 10.
Yeah, so that's what, 25 plus 20, 62 goals. No, 52 goals.
Well, what if you add, what if you add Marner instead of Connor Brown to that line?
Yeah, then it gets a lot better, because then your 15 goals from Connor Brown then become 25.
Yeah, I don't know. This is like, these are problems that I'm okay about, because you don't want to know why? Because these are good hockey players. I'm happy about all of this. I think they're going to be fine. They'll be fine. I would be okay with the JVR trade.
I'm not saying that they're fine. They're not fine. But I'm just saying you still can make great use of JVR. What are you going to get from him? On a 1-year deal, this is the last year of his deal. What are you going to get that's going to make this team better?
I don't know. There's got to be some defenseman available.
So you're going for a defenseman. So you're going to think, here's your current defenseman. Your top 4 of Morgan Rielly, Nikita Zaitsev, Jake Gardiner, Ron Hainsey.
Yeah.
So you're looking at, do you think you can get a defenseman, which JVR for a defenseman, which one of those can you get a defenseman better than?
Oh, Ron Hainsey for sure.
Yep.
Probably. Jake Gardiner from 2 years ago or Jake Gardiner from 1 year ago?
Jake Gardiner from right now.
I don't know. Is Jake Gardiner right now the one that we saw this last year or the one that was 2 years ago?
Because he was year.
I don't know. He was really good this past year.
He was. And I agree. But so I think that if you trade JVR, you're getting a fourth best defenseman, which again, you got your top four and then you got Hainsey and someone's going to get hurt at some point. So
see, what if you trade Carrick and JVR? All of a sudden you're getting a top D man. Throw on a first round pick because we don't care about those anymore.
Yeah. Now if you're
Carlson.
making packages, you could get someone not named Erik Karlsson. However, so yes, there is a deal to be made there. I personally think the Leafs are better off keeping JVR. Now, moving on to some of the other moves of the week.
Wait, you didn't comment on Patrick Marleau.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it'll be good for 1 year. I think you'll start to regret it in the second year, and the third year you will solidly regret it. And I don't think you're going to be able to move him. However, for the first,
he's going to be on long-term IR that third year. I think we're all in agreement of that.
I am not in agreement on that. Do you know when the last time Patrick Marleau missed a game? 2009.
Do you know how convincing Mr. Shanaplan can be?
I'm just saying, I'm not so sold on the fact that you can get Patrick Marleau to be like, yeah, I'm hurt, when he doesn't miss any games. He plays through literally every injury he's had for the last 8 seasons.
Yeah, I think he'll be easy to move.
I do not, but you do not regret it this year or next year. You have a ton of cap space coming off next year. You don't have Lupul, that he's going to be on IR, but you don't have him. You don't have JVR or Bozak or Leo. At least one of those guys is gone.
Oh, I think both of those guys are gone.
And
Leo's gone for sure, and I think all three are gone.
Yeah.
I think all three are gone.
And you don't have the $2 million in buyout that you have against the cap this year. So certainly next year Marleau's not an issue. It's that third year when you now have to re-sign Matthews and Marner, and William Nylander just got a contract the year before. So those three, in that scenario, when you're going to be paying Matthews 13 and Marner and Nylander, 9 and 7 each?
You think Matthews is going to get McDavid money?
In a year from now? Yeah.
So next summer, we're talking about Matthews getting 13.
I think so. The cap goes up just a smidge.
I don't think so.
That 13's a slightly less percentage of the cap hit? Yeah.
I wish, but I don't think so. Because I wish Matthews was at McDavid level, but I don't think he is. I think he's going to be more in like the 11 range.
Okay, still, nonetheless, when you have $27 million wrapped up in those three guys, yeah, the $6 million for Patrick Marleau going to be a bit harder to swallow.
Yeah, he'll be gone. Don't you worry.
Not worried in the slightest. Let's go to some of the moves that my Colorado Avalanche made this week. They signed a backup goaltender.
Great backup goaltender.
Mr. Jonathan Bernier is coming into town. I was okay with the term. Again, no bad 1 year contract, especially when you've got a fair amount of cap space. But 2.75 for Jonathan Bernier, I was like, yeah, I'm fine with a 1 year deal. It's going to be like 1.5. No, double that.
This is the question that I have, though. For a team like the Avalanche, you don't sit near the top of the cap. Does it matter?
No.
Like, do you ever oh man, that guy's overpaid? Like if you had signed Marleau to 3 years, $9 million, you've been like, that's a little excessive, but it wouldn't have mattered in the slightest.
No, and especially on a 1 year deal.
So I just think you're going to regret it because Jonathan Bernier is terrible.
Well, I really hope he doesn't play. Unfortunately, we kept the injury-prone goalie and let the other one go to Vegas.
Yeah, that's... If there's a 1 year deal you regret, it's Jonathan Bernier.
Simply not because of the money, just because you have to play Jonathan Bernier.
Yeah.
If there was a way that we could have convinced Antti Niemi to play for us, triple his salary, I would much rather Niemi at 2.1 than Bernier at 2.75.
So, but what about? But see, here's where it gets really good, because you re-signed Bernier. That was the kicker in you signing Yakupov. Like he was like, Yakupov was like, "As you sign Bernier, I'll be there."
That's the guy. He's like, I've always wanted to play with Jonathan Bernier. I just never had that chance.
Yeah.
Now he does.
There you go.
Welcome to Colorado, Nail Yakupov. Now that is a contract. As bad as the Bernier one is, the Nail Yakupov one only has potential for upside. If he doesn't pan out, he's gone. You lose less than $1 million. If he can do anything remotely useful, I was actually quite surprised. I didn't watch a ton of St. Louis Blues hockey last year. I was incredibly surprised that they didn't give him more ice time, because it just seemed like he was struggling to find it, but like was on that brink of being there.
He had 9 points in 40 games.
Yeah, but if you look at how much ice time he actually played in those games, nothing. Like, he was not getting the time that he needed to be able to perform.
Yeah. Is that...
Because he had 9 games. He was playing 10 minutes and 39 seconds a night. Yeah, you're not going to be good. However, if you start to get some more ice time, start to get that under your belt, I'm okay with that. And he's going to get ice time in Denver. He's going to play for the Avalanche. I see it. And again, this is not a good comparison, but as much as a guy who now went to the KHL, Mikhail Grigorenko, we let him walk, didn't qualify him, another Russian who struggled to reach potential, I see Yakupov filling that same role for us this year. And I thought Grigorenko had a ton of potential, according to Coach... forget my coach's name real quick here.
Patrick Waugh.
No, Jared Bednar, Coach Bednar. He didn't like the fact that Grigorenko took shifts off. And clearly, Yakupov could have gone back to the K and gotten more money. He clearly wants to stay in the NHL and have a shot at an NHL career. Yeah. And this is literally his last chance. If the only team that was willing to give him $825,000 is the Colorado Avalanche, please, unless he's like, man, this team's terrible, I'm going to get some ice time. This is my chance to prove it to people. But
maybe. Doubtful, but maybe.
Also doubtful. But to me, I would not be surprised if you saw Yakupov put up his highest point total ever, which is not anything to brag about. 33 points, 14 and 19. I would not be surprised if you saw Nail Yakupov put up 30 points.
What signing was the worst signing that you think?
The worst? So, like, the one that crippled the team's potential the most.
Yeah. Do you want to go strictly UFA? Or do you want to do RFA and UFA?
Yeah, let's do any contract signed since July 30th.
Sure.
Or since the end of the season.
Sure.
The worst one. I'm just taking a look here, see what... Oh, it's probably one of those Capitals ones. Because it's probably the TJ Oshie contract.
You think that's the worst one?
I don't know. No.
I'm surprised to hear you say that. I thought you liked that when we talked about that.
Yeah, but now I look at the rest of what they did. I'm like, it's just not good now. Because 8 years of TJ Oshie is a long time when you also just gave a lot of other guys a lot of long-term money.
I was actually thinking, I actually thought you were going to say Marleau before the show, before we started talking. That's what I figured.
Marleau's only bad for one season. Yeah. It just means that you're going to have 1 year where you're like, yeah, we have to carry that body around for the season.
Yeah. Or carry half of the cap hit and retain,
you buy him out.
Or not buy him out, but like retain his salary and send him somewhere else.
Sure, yeah.
You want to know which, while you're thinking about it, it's the team that decided to give Nick Bonino 4 years, $4 million.
The Nashville Predators.
That's my worst signing. Nick Bonino was not a great hockey player.
That's accurate.
He might not even be a good hockey player. That was a terrible contract. They're going to regret that in week 1.
I would, yeah. I could get behind the Nick Bonino one as the worst contract of the offseason. I am probably going to say that my worst contract of the offseason is being handed out to one of you pick one of those Capitals deals, and it's one of them. It's either Orlov or it's Oshie. I just like that team just spent way too much money on a lot of players that they really shouldn't have for way too long.
Yeah.
And it just is dumbfounding how they think that they're going to just walk out and all of a sudden they have a quality team when they have the exact same guys and they're paying the exact same money to them. It's stupid.
Yeah. If I had to go with the second worst one, it's Vlasic. That's just, it might be great for the next 3 years. That contract's not going to age well.
I'm going to go with my other worst, and this might actually beat the Capitals ones. My next worst one is Christopher Russell.
Oh, I forgot about him. I just blocked that out.
The deal that he was rumored to get last year just about happened again. He was rumored to get the big term and some money, 4 years, $4 million per. The old Nick Bonino handed out to Chris Russell.
Was there actually rumors that he might get a 7-year deal?
No. But last year, when you remember when he was a free agent and everyone was like, Chris Russell's the best free agent defenseman out there, and he sat there and sat there and sat there and then went for pennies on the dollar to Edmonton.
Yeah,
that deal to me, like the only way that I feel like that happened is because they got such a good deal last year. They were like, well, we can justify it because we paid him so little last year, and he was actually somewhat competent. But that was only for the dollar value. You don't pay someone for their past performance and the fact that you paid them so little. That's why the Toronto Blue Jays are paying Jose Bautista way too much money to bat 180 this year.
You sound very upset about that.
I am very upset about that, Joel.
Okay. Carl, are you upset about Eddie Lack going to the Flames?
No. Let's talk about some goalies. We haven't talked a lot about them. I like Eddie Lack for especially what they gave up, which is essentially nothing.
To get Ryan Murphy and Eddie Lack. Now, this is the bad one.
Ryan Murphy got cut. He's already,
did he? Oh, because isn't there two Ryan Murphys?
Yeah, this is the bad one.
Okay, because when I first heard it, I was like, "What? They got Ryan Murphy?" And I was like, "Wait, it's not the Columbus one."
Yeah, that's Ryan Murray. Is the Columbus one? So that's
all the same.
Yeah, Ryan Murray, whatever. Yeah, this is the bad one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very okay with that. I've always liked Eddie Lack, and he showed like when his coach called him out last year, he clearly showed, I'm actually good. Like I can actually perform. And you don't have to be a jerk about it.
Too bad he never played on a Tortorella team. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
I don't actually know if he was there when Tortorella was. Probably.
He was somewhere.
Yeah, he's somewhere.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And then there was the 5-team goaltender cycle.
Yeah.
So Andrei Pavlich ends up in New York. Steve Mason ends up in Winnipeg. Brian Elliott in Philadelphia. Who are the other ones in that sucker?
I don't know. New Year's? Nope.
No. Antti Ranta ended up in Arizona, and Mike Smith in Calgary. That's how you close that sucker out.
Right.
We talked about the Ranta-Smith scenarios last week. Of these mediocre mid-level goalies that signed, is there... Again, they were all short years, but good money. I love, and I know we talked about it last year, and we had very different opinions.
Don't say it.
But Brian Elliott?
Don't say it.
Whew.
You love that deal.
Philly got a steal on that deal.
No, they didn't.
Joel, look.
Brian Elliott was terrible. He was worse than Mike Smith. A team literally said we would rather Mike Smith than Brian Elliott. A team said that. And they were right.
I'm gonna disagree on that. Like I would 100% take Brian Elliott over Mike Smith.
You know what I would do? Watch football if I had to choose between those two.
Because here's the thing. So your scenario and why you did not want Brian Elliott in Calgary was Brian Elliott had never been a number one, and he couldn't prove that he could be a number one. Well, he doesn't have to be a standout number one in Philly.
It's not a steal. It's not a steal if you got a guy who's like, hi, I can play 20 games.
No, I'm saying like he can play half the games. He can play 40 games. For
So you're thrilled
$2.75
about
million, I am 100% good with paying a guy $2.75 million for 40 games, and the other guy $2.5 million for 40 games. If I can have quality goaltending for just over $5 million, yeah, I want every piece of that.
So just over $5 million
For both of them. 5.25.
How about 5.85 for two of them?
And you get the same quality? Sure, yeah, I'm fine with that.
What if you get better quality?
Even better, yeah. Who is that?
That's my Toronto Maple Leafs. That's right. I just wanted to point out that Freddie Anderson makes $5 million. Just, you want to talk about a steal? Let's talk about that. I don't even want to talk about Brian Elliott. This is terrible. This is terrible.
All right. Well, which goalie of those? If Brian Elliott is the worst, then whose was the best?
I don't know. No, Pavel's definitely the worst. Let's be clear about this. Ranta. I like him. I like he's the only guy that we don't know anything about, and I know enough about all the rest of them that I don't want any of them. That's the only reason. He might be the worst of all of them, but we don't know. We do know that the rest of them are below average goalies. Steve Mason, below average.
Steve Mason at 4.1 was a little high.
Mike Smith, below average. Brian Elliott, below average.
Well, there's a couple trades that occurred since we last chatted as well. This happened on the second day of the draft. We recorded on the first day of the draft. Travis Hamonic finally got traded to the West Coast, to the Calgary Flames for a first, a second, and a conditional second. Do you like the pickup of Travis Hamonic, closing out a top four of Giordano, Brody, Dougie Hamilton, and now Travis Hamonic?
Okay, well, I like the Hamonic deal for the Flames, but let's settle down, Calgary, and being like, this is the best four defenseman ever. This is the greatest of all time. No, it's not. It's probably not even the best four of the last 3 years. So slow your roll. I like it, though. They did well.
Yeah. Travis Hamonic is a very, very affordable defenseman. He's clocking in at a total of 3.85 for another 3 seasons.
Yeah, and then the defensemen there were some defensemen. So like Hamonic got traded, Methot and Scandella all got traded for I thought was what was really reasonable.
As much as free agents got paid ridiculous amounts, they were being traded for very little.
Yeah, like Tyler Ennis, the bad Foligno. I don't even know how to say it. Foligno?
I thought you were trying to say the bad Floyd Mayweather. I was like, yeah, I've never heard him, Nick Foligno, called the bad Floyd Mayweather, but sure, let's go with that.
So, they traded, yeah, Tyler Ennis. Not, remember when people thought he was good?
Yeah.
So, hey, your boy, Pominville. You love that guy.
Yeah, now he's just a salary dump so that they can get away.
Yeah. But those are great trades. I liked all of them. I was like, whoever got the defenseman in those trades won those trades.
Yeah, and in a trade so that the Nashville Predators could afford to give Nick Bonino $4 million, they traded Colin Wilson to my Colorado Avalanche.
You're okay with that?
I am quite okay with that. Colin Wilson, had some injury problems last year, but certainly can still play. Just under $4, so essentially $4 million for him for the next couple seasons. I'm fine with it.
Did you see Kruger got just traded for nothing? Like literally nothing.
Was it a conditional fifth?
The official word was future considerations.
That's impressive. But then
that must have been part of the draft night deal, right?
It must have been, but he literally then did get traded for a 5th round pick because he did not stay. Marcus Kruger finally got traded. The reason they waited was he had a bonus that kicked in on July 1st, and as part of the deal, the Blackhawks were going to eat that money. So they did, sent him off to Vegas, and then the Carolina Hurricanes, a.k.a. the bad Chicago Blackhawks, picked him up.
Is Kruger that bad?
No.
He's probably not worth what he's getting paid, but he can't be that bad that nobody wants him.
For anything at all. Yeah, he's not as bad as a 5th round draft pick. But here's the list of former Blackhawks, and it's a lengthy list, so I'll probably miss one. But Marcus Kruger, Teuvo Teravainen, Joachim Nordstrom, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Scott Darling are your former Blackhawks playing on the Hurricanes.
There you go.
It's literally like they have a D-League team and they just send people to that D-League team at the coast.
Can Carolina stop helping the Blackhawks out? The rest of the NHL would deeply appreciate it.
Yeah, just call them, hey, Ron Francis, we've made a huge mistake. Do you want to help us out? I don't know. What's it going to take? Oh, a 5th round draft pick? Okay, yeah, sure, I'll help you out.
Yeah, that's the... How do you feel about Marcus Johansson just getting dumped to New Jersey?
Love that for New Jersey.
Yeah, that's Marcus Johansson's a capable player for 2nd and a 3rd. The story of the offseason so far has been don't sign anybody, trade for somebody.
Always, and this is almost unanimously 100% of the time the rule. Always get the best player in the trade, and especially this offseason. If you get the best player in the trade, you win it.
Yeah, because everyone that's got the best player or a player in it, it's you win. Except one.
Does it rhyme with Alexei Smelman?
Except 2. Except 3.
Okay, so Emelin to Nashville for a 3rd.
Yeah. Ryan Reeves for a 1st.
Okay, yeah.
And Braden Shen for 2 firsts.
So don't make trades on the first day of the draft and always get the best player in the trade.
Yeah, because Ranta and Stepan for a 1st, I don't know if that's a win for the Coyotes, but it's not I think that's a pretty good
Eventually
trade.
You need not just prospects. You need a player now. So yeah. 100%.
But it's Jarmelson. I can't say any of these names.
That's fine. Is there a team that you think is hands down the winner of the first week of the offseason? With if we go back to the expansion draft, the NHL entry draft, free agency, we're about 2 weeks, week and a half in. Is there a winner?
I don't know. Might be the Rangers. They didn't do a whole lot, but what they did do was really good.
Here's my winner. My winner is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Because they didn't do a whole lot, and they still have the exact same team that they did, that just won 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah, but they traded a 1st-round pick for Ryan Reeves. That's not good. That's not good. It's not good.
Joel, how do you feel about that?
That's not good.
Yeah, that alone, not good. But I just look at this squad and you're like, yeah, you got rid of Marc-Andre Fleury. You got to keep literally everyone else.
Yeah, but so you downgraded Fleury to Niemi. You don't win the cup with Niemi. If you don't have Fleury, you don't win the cup this year. So they downgraded to Niemi, and then they traded a first for Ryan Reeves. Pretty sure that's not a win. I disagree about your Penguins. You just like them because they're good. They didn't win the offseason. They're just a really good team next year.
Okay, maybe that's it. They didn't lose the offseason. And maybe that's all you have to do.
So, I don't know what else the Devils did. But getting the first overall pick and then Johansson buying out some guys, they've had a good offseason.
Yes, certainly. Getting Mike Camilleri out of there. Like they didn't really.
I don't know if that's a win.
The logic. I don't get why they did it now. Like this is another team, as you mentioned, like salary cap scenario. They have $20 million still on the cap. Sure, they still have to spend some, but like, it's not. No, just no.
So this is what they did. They got rid of Devontae Smith-Pelly, Camilleri. They added Brian Boyle, first round draft pick. I keep on saying that because I don't remember how to say that guy's name. And who's the other guy that I just said? Marcus Johansson. They might be your winners. Like there's not a lot has actually happened.
There's not a lot. There's no like groundbreaking, landscape shifting moves right now.
The team. You want to know what the team is? If would be the way that you're talking about them, it's the Philly Flyers. Because they signed Brian Elliott and then they got 2 first-round draft picks for Braden Shen. That's a win. And they re-signed Wheel. Like, if you like Elliott, they're a good little team.
Yeah, and I do like Brian Elliott.
So, there you go. That could be a team. I don't know.
Yeah, like even, like, again, the Flames. Love what they got for Travis Hamonic, but I can't say that they're the winner because they went from, as much as you hate Brian Elliott and Chad Johnson, they went to Mike Smith and Eddie Lack in net. That also doesn't inspire a great deal of confidence for me.
Signed Stone to an overpriced deal. I don't think they're the winners. There might not be a winner. There's just a bunch of non-losers.
You didn't lose, and that is a sign you're not the Washington Capitals.
It's clear they're the losers, right?
Yes. This week's episode might be, I don't want to say thing. I think this is it with me and the Caps. You mentioned it before. You mentioned it off the start. Like, are you off the bandwagon? Just the more I have to think about it and the more I start looking at it, like, it's just not something I can support.
So next year, if the Leafs play the Caps in the first round again, will you support me?
It's up in the air. Yeah.
Come on. Make a decision,
but
Carl.
Here's what's great, Joel, is as we go through the offseason, we're getting into the point of the year where we now have a lot of time to do. We have a lot of things to talk about. And we don't have, last season we did favorite players in the league. Mm-hmm. Year before that, we did, favorite part of hockey, reason we love hockey. Mm-hmm. My Colorado Avalanche still did not get any better. They're still going to be super miserable. I might still need a bandwagon team.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
So this is it. Obviously, everyone's going to say that I should cheer for their favorite team. Joel's going to say the Toronto Maple Leafs initially. But this could be the summer that we explore. If you're going to pick a bandwagon team, who is it and why?
Toronto Maple Leafs. Just do it.
That's not a good enough reason. No,
you get to cheer for Austin Matthews. That's literally the best reason.
Here's the number one reason why I will not pick the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it's hit or miss. There's too much Maple Leafs already in my life. I already know way more about them than I really should. Everyone keeps talking about them. every national writer who I enjoyed writing just went to work for The Athletic in Toronto, and now everyone's like, oh, all I write about is the Leafs.
That's all you ever get as national writers.
Exactly. National Canadian writers, you either get like your local guy who writes a super biased local article about how the Flames are fantastic, or you get national guys who write about the Leafs.
It's great. I love it.
So that's why I already know everything about the Leafs. And like
that's why you know how great they are to cheer for right now.
No, I think they've already jumped the shark on them. So
what is it?
Like the Leafs are already so great in everyone's mind after making the playoffs in year one of your Austin Matthews. It's like they're just so in on them being great for forever.
And to be fair, and you'll experience this. Well, I don't know if you will experience this. You might not, because you've won a Stanley Cup as a Colorado Avalanche fan. I have lived through too many years of agony. Like, it's just fun to cheer for a team that's fun. So I can understand why you may not want to, because you're like, yeah, I'm not going to have, like, it's not going to be like years and years of just pain. So what I think you should do is cheer for the Vegas Knights.
But I'm picking a bandwagon team so I don't have years and years of misery.
Yeah, but bandwagon, just do it for fun this year, and then choose another team next year.
No, I can't. I can't handle two terrible teams.
I don't know what to tell you then.
Here's what I am going to tell you, Joel. We're gonna find a way. We're gonna work through this. I haven't proposed this to Joel. This is the first he's hearing about it. I just thought of it. But we're gonna come up with a way for you to help me pick a new bandwagon team. I still don't have any hope for my Avalanche, and I don't have hope for the Caps either. So let's do this. Let's figure out a way for me to have a new bandwagon team. Let's start with some suggestions. Let us know on Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast. You can send us an email if it's too lengthy, mail@thefourthlinepodcast.com. You can send us a facebook.com/thefourthlinepodcast. If you're one of our Patreon members, thank you, by the way, to Alex Gardner, brand new Patreon supporter. You can just send us a message over there.
So I like this, but I don't know how many, but I'm claiming at least one veto in this process. That, like, however we come to the decision to help you decide, if the end result is a terrible, terrible team, we're going to veto those out. 'Cause, like, I'm not going to live in a world where you cheer for the Montreal Canadiens.
I won't either.
Okay, good. That's basically okay. I may not need a veto.
It was you have a one team no trade clause, and it's just Montreal.
Yeah, like I just would not enjoy that. That would be like me choosing to be like a Red Wings fan for you.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
It might be that I just eliminate half the league and we start with a bracket of 16 and figure out how we do this, but we'll sort this out as we go.
Okay. We're going to write... What do we have coming out on Patreon this week? It's barbecue article.
Barbecue talk, yeah.
You guys got some good ideas.
Yeah, Joel, did you decide which one you wanted to do?
I don't know. Which one did you like? I was going back and forth between kebabs, different types of kebabs. The one that I kind of want to do is chicken.
Yeah, let's talk chicken. Chicken talk over on Patreon this week.
Chicken is an underrated barbecue and smoke special.
Yeah, so we're gonna give you some of our favorite ways to cook chicken. You know, the big holidays that started off summer just happened. Canada Day, 4th of July, Independence Day. Summer's here. This is prime cooking time. So
yeah.
Head over to Patreon and you will find out how we like to eat our chicken. We gave out all the information. You can find us on Last Word on Sports, Nuts and Bolts Sports. Joel, thank you very much for being here. You can also find us on the website, thefourthlinepodcast.com. Lots of great stuff over there. Some draft articles, previewing some of the Red Wings draft picks. Because as much as you said, you don't want me to be a Red Wings fan, somehow our website is full of them.
I know. So it's strange.
Yeah, but they, Mike and Kyle and Gwen did some great stuff highlighting some of the Red Wings draft prospects over there. So head over there, check that out, and we'll see you next week.
Did you thank me for being on here because I'm the only one listening at this point?
Maybe.
Boom City.